age, with social media, people meet people online. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but you definitely have to take more precautions. Everybody can lie on the internet. But when you start meeting someone in person after meeting them on social dating sites and that, you have to pay attention to what your senses are telling you. Almost every single day, we hear somebody's got lured in, been sexually assaulted, something's gone on.
Officer testified he
shows him to be a huge fan of the television show Dexter.
Edmonton is like any big city in this country. There's a lot of violent crime, but this case was unique. Reporters flew into Edmonton from all over the world to get a look at the Dexter killer.
The lead role in a trial that's expected to generate international media attention.
The call came in on a Sunday afternoon. Unless we got some special plans, I'm just sitting on the couch watching football.
Asti, why the hell are you calling me in? This is a missing persons case.
It wasn't my call. Murph suspects the worst on this one. He wanted somebody from homicide to take a look at it. Besides, look, there's something funny with this case. You know, he may be right. We may have a murder on our hands. Come on.
Right away, I'm thinking, missing what? Who's calling us out? Because if it's some young guy, I'm thinking, what does this guy know, you know? So I'm a little hesitant at the start because homicide doesn't go out to missing person cases.
His name is John Brian Altinger, 38 years old. Oil field pipe inspector, born here, moved to BC as a teenager, then back to Edmonton a few years ago.
He had last been seen on October 10th, which was 9 days before we were called in from homicide. The police had started the investigation 2 days before on the Friday night.
His friend Dale Smith called it in after getting a suspicious email from John. A week ago, John goes out on a date with Jen, a girl he met on a dating website. 3 days later, Smith gets an email saying John's decided to take off for Costa Rica with Jen.
Hey there, I've met an extraordinary woman named Jen who was offered to take me on a nice long tropical vacation. We'll be staying in her winter home in Costa Rica, phone number to follow soon. I won't be back in town until December 10th, but I will be checking my email periodically. See you around the holidays, Johnny. Well, it seems to me that we should be congratulating Johnny, not looking for him.
I don't know this guy, I don't know what his lifestyle's like, I don't know any of that. So I'm thinking maybe it is possible. Maybe he did take off with this girl to Costa Rica. I mean, that's a possibility. So I'm asking him questions. You know, have you checked the airports? Have you gone through all those parking lots, the parking rides, looking for his vehicle?
That's his car, and yes, we did a full grid search looking for it. Nothing.
What about his computer?
According to Dale Smith, it's missing.
How would Dale Smith know that?
He broke into his apartment. He was checking up on him.
Well, what about this girl he dated, this Jen?
Couldn't find her profile on the dating site. All we have are the directions she left for John for where to meet for their date.
Johnny Altinger, on Friday, October 10th, was going to meet a girl he met online on one of the dating sites. So he went to meet this girl, but he had emailed one of his buddies, one of his close friends, the location of where he was going. And what was odd was, it was directions to a garage.
The guy who rents the place let us in to have a quick look. We did bring him in for an interview.
Okay, well, let's check out this interview.
Okay.
So I thought, I'll go watch the interview with this guy and see what I think. I'm looking for signs of deception. Is he nervous? All that type of stuff.
I've been renting the garage for a couple weeks now. It's a great little movie studio, actually.
Movie studio?
The guy's a local filmmaker. Low budget, sci-fi, horror stuff like that.
So let me get this straight. The guy that's renting my garage was going on a date, and now he's missing. It's funny because when I let you guys in, I did notice the lock was tampered with, but I looked around and nothing was missing.
You guys looked in the garage?
Yeah, it's like you said, little movie set.
He wasn't giving short answers. He was open. You know, he's sitting on his chair. He's relaxed. This Mark guy interviewed really well. It looks to me like he's not involved in this.
Well, I've seen all I need to see. This guy has nothing to do with this case. Have you checked John's apartment?
I'll get IDENT on it, see if they can dig up.
Yeah, I'm gonna head to the garage and see if anything was missed.
The garage is the key. We believe that he did go to that garage on October the 10th, but we don't know that for sure. So I want him to go in and take a look. It's in the southeast side of the city in a residential community. It's middle class, Mill Woods. Just an average community you find in any city.
Hi there. I'm looking for Jen.
No Jen here.
There was a Mexican man living in the house. The house and garage were rented separately.
Detective Clark, Edmonton Police. Do you know a Jen? Any Jen? And how about this guy? Have you ever seen him?
They never heard of this guy. There was no girl named Jen living there, nothing. It was weird. It was weird.
Have you noticed any strange activity back there lately?
Sí, hay muchas luces, many voices. Filman películas acá, you know, movies.
Well, thank you.
Basically, the garage was nothing out of the ordinary. Police patrol members had already been in that garage the night before. Mark had let them in. They had a quick look around, didn't see anything out of the ordinary. But they have a different mindset. I always say, as a homicide investigator, we're preparing this case for court. You have to do everything right. There's no cutting corners. Even though it belonged to this Mark guy, we thought, let's just get a search warrant. This is the last place we believe this guy's been seen.
Anstey, look, I'm gonna need to get into this garage.
While we waited for the warrant to come through, my team and I visited Altinger's apartment, see if anything came up that looked unusual.
Hey, Ness.
Hey.
John's place was a mess. It was, it wasn't tidy. It was bachelor pad, and he wasn't too worried about, impressing anybody.
Wow. I really love what you've done with the place.
Very funny. Could be ransacked.
Clearly, you've never lived with teenage boys.
I'm serious. That patio door over there was used as a point of entry. And the computer's missing.
Kind of hard to travel without luggage, don't you think?
There's one thing for sure.
Hey, Nancy.
You're definitely not leaving the country in today's day and age without a valid passport. That was a telltale sign. We knew he hadn't left the country without that.
All I know is that the minute I got that email saying he was going to Costa Rica, I knew something was wrong.
Dale Smith was very suspicious. Johnny was a good friend of his. Dale really thought that something happened to Johnny. He wanted to get to the bottom of it. He wanted to help find his friend.
Did John have any enemies? Anyone who'd want to hurt him?
No way. No, John's a good dude. He really cares about people. He loves paintball and motorcycles, computers. He even convinced me to buy my first computer.
Ever use it for internet dating?
Me? No. That's John's thing. He's got a bunch of friends around that stuff. They swap stories of different dates they've been on. But not me. No, can't trust it.
Did he ever tell you any stories?
Not usually.
Well, then why would he decide to call you right before his date with Jen?
He thought there was something off about her. Like, she was very forward, but wouldn't give her phone number. He was very excited to meet her, though.
Excited enough to give you directions before he went.
Well, she gave him directions instead of an address. He thought it was weird, so he wanted to make sure that I knew where he was going just in case something bad happened. You gotta believe me.
My suspicion is peaked that, yeah, we are now moving into a homicide investigation here. We believed that John had not left the country, but where was he? It just didn't make any sense.
What's he writing?
There's a list of people who know Altinger. Said the Costa Rica email went out to all of his friends and family.
Well, not all of them. We just talked to a guy who considered himself one of Altinger's best friends. He never got an email about Costa Rica or anything.
We need to learn everything we can about Altinger. Let's contact everyone on that list.
All right, I'll get the guys on.
All right, thanks. I'll go chat with the family.
As a homicide investigator talking to the family of a missing loved one, it's tough. You know, I want to give them all the information. I know they got a million questions I can't answer. I'm just trying to reassure them and take the first steps that, hey, we're looking into this. Honestly, we don't know what we have.
So when was the last time you saw John?
Last August. He drove out here on his motorcycle after one of those failed online relationships.
So did he do a lot of online dating?
Yeah, sure. He almost got married a couple years ago. Nice girl. Got a ring and everything, but it didn't work out.
So he was looking for love.
Yeah, you could say that, sure.
Do you think that he found it, love, with this Jen girl?
I don't believe he'd run off to Costa Rica on a whim like that, no matter who he met.
Why not?
Not like him. I mean, John's always been a very caring and connected guy. You know, he's always there for people. He just wouldn't take off like that. You know, after our dad died, John came and stayed with our mom. Just to look after her. And he stayed there for 3 years. Now that's the kind of man he is.
Johnny Altinger, he was just a decent guy, liked by everybody. You know, he was just Joe average.
Would you mind providing us with a sample of your DNA? It's a formality, you know, just in case.
Sure, whatever you need.
All right, and I'll tell you what, here's my card, just in case there's anything that you'd like to add.
There's nothing worse than missing a loved one and not knowing if they're alive or dead. But the whole issue becomes even larger when you're getting a call from a homicide detective. And he's telling you that, hey, we're looking into this disappearance. It's just got to be horrible on the family.
My mother's flying back from Mexico this weekend. What do I tell her?
That we're investigating this as a missing persons case.
And why does your card say homicide?
We need to get into that garage where Altinger met his date.
I wrote up a warrant, but it was refused.
What?
They said there was no proof that a crime had been committed there.
It's like a light bulb went off. I go, yeah, we really can't prove there's been a crime committed. So you can't get a search warrant just to go search something. You're not allowed to go on fishing expeditions. You got to prove there's a crime been committed to get a warrant to go in. So I'm going, oh, yeah, well, that's a smart judge.
Forget it.
What?
We'll just go to the guy who rents the place and get the keys. He gave them to an officer before, he'll do it again. Yeah.
So I phone him up. I just say, hey, we need to get in the garage. We want to have a really good look around. Do you mind? First time I've ever talked to the guy, and I've only talked to him on the phone. He's Mr. Cooperative. I says, I just need you to sign a consent form that we can search the garage. He goes, oh, not a problem. I says, I'll send a guy up there, meet you. You can give the key. I'll get you to sign this form, and we'll have a look.
This will get you in.
Thanks. Sorry about all the trouble.
No, no trouble at all.
Murphy gets him in his car, and the case changes. This is where everything turned.
But could you help me out? Could you see if your guys found out anything about my car?
Your car? What about it?
It was broken into a couple weeks ago. Filed a report. Some stuff was missing, a few receipts. One was for the garage rental, and the other had my address on it. So I'm just kind of worried that, I don't know, someone's out there messing with me. Maybe stealing my identity.
What makes you think that?
Well, a few days after, I came home with my wife and our door was unlocked.
Is anything stolen from the house?
No, but I'm getting this impression that I'm being, I don't know, watched.
What?
Yeah.
How?
A couple days ago, I'm out near my garage working on a set, and this guy taps on my window, and he tells me this story about how he met this rich girl who's gonna take him on vacation, and she wants him to sell his car, and she's gonna buy him a new one when they get back. So he's like, you wanna buy a car? And I'm like, I don't have enough money, I'm gonna buy a car. And he's like, how much you got in your wallet? And I say, $40. He's like, yeah, sold.
You don't buy a car off for $40. Come on, I don't care who you are. This just doesn't make sense. So it's like, right away, big red flag. It's like, things aren't right here.
Where's the car you bought? Is it here?
No, it's at my friend Joss Natchiek's. It's a stick, and I can't even drive manual, so I'm keeping it there. I can give you his address if you need it.
Okay. What kind of car is it?
It's a red Mazda 3.
Exactly the same car as John Altinger. I says, holy mackerel, we need to get this guy in. We need to get him in here for an interview. Now, Detective Anstey and I are scrambling. How do we get this guy down? Let's ask the guy to just come down on his own. He's got his car there anyway. He's with Murphy. He's got his own car. Let's tell him to drive down.
He's still working on his statement?
2 hours and counting. Like he's writing his next movie.
I better pull up a chair.
So we're waiting and we're watching, and he's writing and he's writing and he's writing. And he goes page after page after page. He writes 8 pages.
Thanks, Mark.
So I read it over. It indicated that he was producing a film or something, shooting some type of short film in this garage. Well, he just rambles on and on about the movie making, and then the red car is basically 2 small paragraphs on 1 page. And that's the big incident. I'm thinking it's a sign of deception. He's not telling me the whole story about the red car.
This is great. Very detailed. You're a hell of a writer, Mark.
I try.
Yeah, I just have one question, though. Why didn't you mention any of this when you first showed us the garage?
I didn't think it was related. But then I talked to my wife, and she thought I should mention it, so.
You think the guy that sold you the car for $40 had anything to do with John Altinger's disappearance?
I don't know. Looking back on it, yeah, sure feels that way. Look, I feel like an idiot for having thought that this car situation was on the up and up. So if it's all the same to you, I would prefer if I just gave you the keys to the Mazda and be done with it. I brought them with me. They're in the car.
That sounds great. Let me just check with my partner, see if he has any more questions, and we'll get you on your way.
Hello? Yeah, still here. What? Yeah, it turns out that the car does belong to that missing guy. It's just a big mess. I'll be home soon, okay? I'll call you when I'm on my way. All right. Bye.
He's lying.
That's what you said last time.
Well, last time there was no pressure on him. It was a soft interview. This time I'm starting to lean on him a bit about the car he bought. And he's starting to show signs of deception. You look at him. Biting his lip, he's got dry mouth.
Can't arrest a guy for having dry mouth.
Yeah, and you can't buy a car for $40 either.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with you, but everything he says checks out. Then breaking into his car. Look, he filed a report the very next day.
Yeah, right. Someone breaks into his car to take receipts. Does that mean that they're following him? They're trying to frame him?
I just think we got to be careful here. We got nothing to charge him with. So far, he's been cooperative.
Yeah, well, let's see if he cooperates enough to confess.
What? Where are you going?
Mark, did you have anything to do with the disappearance of John Altinger?
No.
Because I have no doubt in my mind that you were involved in this disappearance.
Why?
Because you're not telling us the truth. You haven't told us anything near the truth.
Is this some sort of scare tactic?
Mark, you're not dumb. You know you can't buy a car that's worth over 10 grand for $40. So just tell me what happened to John. Tell me where he is. You can't live with this for the rest of your life.
I want a lawyer.
I took the chance and pushed the envelope. In the end, we got no evidence, we got nothing. Maybe he's not involved, maybe I am wrong. I never want a guy to walk out, and I'm always thinking that we're probably not getting this guy back in here.
You okay?
We just can't let him walk.
We're just gonna have to cool our jets until the warrants come through.
I'm getting nowhere with him, and I can't throw anything at him because I got no evidence. I was mad. I was mad because I didn't get a confession. Probably my emotions got a little bit of me there, but I thought, screw it.
I know you killed that guy, and I'm coming to get you. It's just a matter of time.
You want them to feel out of their element, because then they start saying things they probably shouldn't say. You know, we've been going hard all night. I'm tired, but it's like when you just get a second rush of adrenaline and you're pumped now.
Hey, that's your car? Keys to the Mazda in there?
Yeah, they're in it.
Then I'm seizing your whole car.
No, you can't do that.
Sure I can. Mazda keys are stolen property.
But I told you I'd give them to you.
Yeah, possession of stolen property. Probable cause for me to take your car and everything in it.
Nah, you need a warrant for that.
To look through it, sure, but not to seize it. Give me your keys.
He turns and looks at me, and he goes, oh, I just need to get something out of it. I says, you're getting all out of that car. I was mad. Detective Anstey heard this, and he thought I'd have checked my ego at the door. Detective Anstey was right. But you know what? Police work is not rocket science. It's common sense. And it made sense to me that this Mark guy's involved somehow. I just don't know yet what his involvement is.
Evanston Police!
Go away. Mark isn't here. He told me not to talk to you.
Don't you want to know why 2 homicide detectives are at your door and you're Husband's telling you not to talk? Detective Clark, Edmonton PD. Who's the little one?
Chloe.
Chloe, that's a pretty name. And you are?
Jess.
Now, Jess, I don't know what Mark has told you, but he's involved in something big. We're gonna have to seize your house, ma'am.
What? I don't understand what's going on.
We're bringing in a team to search your home. This detective will stay until they arrive. Now, you can stay if you want, but I would suggest that you and Chloe leave until the police have done their job. Go inside, make sure nothing gets touched. Let me know the minute Mark comes home. Whatever you do, don't let him in the house.
We are getting a search warrant to search this house. In the meantime, Mark won't be allowed to remove anything. We get a phone call from Detective Anstey. He tells us we are getting a warrant for the garage.
What do you think?
Maybe corn syrup. They mix it with red dye to make fake blood.
Yeah, well, we better make sure that none of it's real.
Mark had told me that these were the props from his movie set. And it looked like a kill room from the show Dexter. I mean, he built a table just like Dexter had. And I'm thinking, what the hell's going on here?
BB gun.
He had knives, meat cleavers. It was weird. You could see what looked like blood and possibly skin in the end of that knife.
Is that real?
Could be. This is gonna take some time. Looks like someone's already been doing some housekeeping. Clark.
Things just aren't sitting right. It's not a good feeling. Something bad's happened to John.
Hey. How you doing, Link?
What's this?
That is a tooth I found in the garage.
I'll run Altinger's dental records.
No, Link, that's fine, man. I know you have a lot of cases. I can handle it.
Bill, actually, I brought Link in. I thought we could use the help.
Paul Link was brought in. Maybe there's something I'm simply not seeing. I always tell guys you got to check your ego at the door, and I had to do a big check there.
Oh. Okay. Did Anstey fill you in?
Yeah, he did. And he told me his new theory.
Well, look, a lot of people had access to the garage, right?
Yeah, the crew.
Well, maybe they make it a snuff film.
Snuff film?
Basically, a snuff film is a film a person would make up of an actual murder. They're actually killing someone and they film it. It's not fake, it's not Hollywood, there's no acting, it's real life. And they kill a person, they film it, and then they sell the film for big dollars.
Even found a guy online offering $1 million for the real thing.
$1 million?
Yeah.
Great way for Mark and his crew to raise a lot of money.
We needed to talk to Mark, but we asked him to come down to the station. He's gonna just laugh at us.
Okay, well, what about the guy on the internet that's offering the $1 million? Can we track him?
Tech's trying, but it's not easy.
Our best bet's to talk to the crew. Find out what they've been up to in this little garage of horrors of theirs.
We started with Josh Sinadiuk. He's the one who had the red Mazda that Mark bought. Josh was the helper guy on the set when they were filming their little movies.
Hey, what are you doing?
Is this your car?
I hear there's a lot of money to be made for snuff films.
I wouldn't know. I've never seen one.
You ever wonder how Mark was paying for his movies?
He's a talented guy. Knows producers in Hollywood. He impresses a lot of people. He told me once he got 30 grand from some accountant. He promised him he'd make $1 million.
Wow. It's quite a promise.
Yeah, people trust Mark.
So it would seem. Did you work with Mark on the last movie he shot in his garage? What was it about?
A killer.
What kind of killer?
One who uses a dating service to lure some guy into his garage and then he kills him.
How would I see this movie?
I really thought that we had a snuff film. They do exist. Guys like Luca Magnotta, right? He sold film of him killing that guy. Maybe this is the piece we're looking for, where they've actually filmed the murder of John.
This is not a snuff film.
And cut. Well, awesome, guys. You okay?
Here, take this. Excuse me.
When did Altinger disappear?
October 10th.
This was some 2 weeks before John went missing.
And this is just one memory card. We need to see the rest of the footage. It's at his house. We have a detective securing the home, but I can't get in until...
You can get in. We just got clearance for warrants on the house and the car. I'm gonna go pick them up now.
Thanks, Paul.
When we searched Mark's house, I told him, make sure you take every hard drive, every CD, every disc, anything that can store data. Make sure we seize it all, because I truly was of the belief that this was a snuff film. We went through there, we found all kinds of hard drives, there were lots of DVDs. There was a real affinity to the show Dexter, where he had a lot of books on Dexter. He had the DVDs of each season. I'm thinking to myself, we see all this violence on TV. It affects people in different ways. There's no doubt it affects people. Everything was adding up, but it still wasn't making any sense. And then we pulled the laptop from his car, and you wouldn't believe what we found.
It's a document that he tried to erase. It's called SK Confessions.
This is a story of my progression into becoming a serial killer. This is a story of my progression into becoming a serial killer.
The document was detailed and disturbing. It definitely seemed like a confession to Altinger's murder.
A double detached garage for rent in the south of the city with a house occupied by tenants who couldn't even read English. This is his garage. Everything I decided would take place.
He talked about everything. Why he lured the victim, how he lured him. He talked about the site. He talked about using the female profile, where he got it from, everything.
This is a diary. I mean, all he did was change the names a little. I mean, he calls his wife Jess, Tess, and his daughter Chloe, Zoe. I mean, everything else is real.
It goes into explicit detail. And I'm looking at this document, reading it, and I remember thinking, wow, this thing is true.
The room filled with the echo of the pipe crashing into the back of his skull. He hit the floor but was still conscious. I pulled my hunting knife from its sheath, and watching the shock on his face as he saw the blade, I thrust it into his gut.
Just a total lack of empathy. I mean, he talks about eating a bag of chips, you know, whistling, singing songs while he's dismembering Johnny.
This is sick stuff. I mean,
Anstey, this is a full confession.
But in that document, it also states there was a first victim. And we're like, oh, we're shocked.
Someone that he attacked and then got away. Why hasn't anyone come forward?
Finding that victim was huge to really proving that SK Confessions document was true. So we decided to go to the news media.
Police say the victim, John Altinger, was lured on a dating website with the promise of meeting a beautiful woman. Instead, police theorize he was met by his killer. And police are looking for another would-be victim who escaped. The unknown man went to the same garage to meet a woman, but was confronted by a man in a hockey mask.
Detective Anstey went in the media and showed the mask. And the very next morning, I got a phone call from Gilles Tetreault, and he came down to the station.
She was a bit forward. I was asking if I wanted to meet. And she gave me directions instead of an address. I thought that was odd, but I still wanted to meet her.
And it was without a doubt the most riveting witness interview I've had in my career. And the story was exactly the same as John Altinger. He met a girl online.
So when I got out of the car, I should have been scoping the place first, but I was rushing, thinking that I was late, and she was going to be upset. And out of nowhere, this guy just tasers me. And he grabs me, and he pulls me through the side door. I'm thinking he's gonna kill me.
Don't move.
Just let me go, okay? You can take whatever you want. You can take my wallet. Shut up. And I tell myself, no, not like this. I was so weak I couldn't run. And I knew if he gets me back inside, I'm as good as dead. When I got home, I went on the dating site, but the profile, the messages, they were gone. Just vanished.
I had read that SK Confessions document multiple times by now. I knew that document inside and out. Everything Gilles told me was exactly the same.
So what took you so long to come forward?
I was scared. Ashamed. I think that I was attacked in the same way at the same place just 1 week before the missing man. That'll haunt me till the day I die. I could have done something. I should have done something.
Behind the police tape and garage doors, a chilling scene of what could be life imitating art. A homicide police say was literally scripted, then carried out by an Edmonton filmmaker.
Mark Twitchell's real-life diary, detailing his descent into the world of
His Facebook
murder.
page shows him to be a huge fan of the television show Dexter. He bears an eerie physical resemblance to the main
To
character.
mirror the gruesome writings of how a man was lured to a garage to meet a date.
We've now arrested him for first-degree murder, so pre-planned, meditated murder. We got a mountain of evidence. Everything's testing positive for Johnny's blood. Strong case.
We found John's blood everywhere. In your garage, both cars, your house, your clothes. Yeah, the evidence is overwhelming. And we put away guys with 5% of what we have on you, so thanks for making it easy for us.
We realized from the SK Confessions document, he got rid of the body down a sewer in an eastern suburb of Edmonton. So I thought, we'll put him in the car, we'll film him, let's take him for a drive and see if he'll point out the body to us.
We know what you did with Alton. We can't do anything about that, but you can do the right thing. Tell us where you dumped the body.
We weren't going to play on his emotions. It wasn't going to work. People like Mark don't care.
Which sewer was it, Mark? You can end this now.
He wouldn't give us anything. He wouldn't give up the body. "18 months since the murder, and out of the blue, we get a phone call to our office from Mark Twitchell's lawyer.
It was 2 blocks from Twitchell's parents' home and half a block from a section of sewer searched exhaustively early in the investigation.
It's been the worst. It's been the worst. Just nothing else can be said.
There'll never be closure, but it goes on to the next step, I think. Start to heal, if that's possible.
I truly think to this day that Mark Twitchell wanted to know what it was like to kill someone. He had his mind made up long before he saw Dexter. Kind of overshadowed the whole incident, and it shouldn't have. John Altinger, he was a good guy. I've tried my best not to let it affect me, but I've seen the other side. And when you see that other side, you do feel sorry. You have more empathy for these victims' families and see what it can do. It tears them apart.